Hey there, I'm Kit Lyle from the Operators. Thanks for watching. I want to talk to you about investment theses and value creation plans. Two ways to look at an investment thesis. One is it's been provided to you and you're responsible for implementing that thesis and value creation plan. The other side of that equation is that you bring an investment thesis to a private equity group and you say, hey, this is my gift to you, and in return, if you do pursue this thesis and make an acquisition in that space, I want to be the one that's considered for the opportunity. Okay, so let's start there. In that particular situation, a good thesis is something more than an idea. It's more than a theme. It's pointing out a customer need, an opportunity to be solved, whether the customer is aware of that need, that unmet need or not. And you're leveraging that need by combining things like technology, a trend, a channel, a product or service, a capability. And that may mean you're bolting together different capabilities and competencies from different companies, right, to provide that service or that resolution for that particular customer in ways that no one else is today. So you have to know the customer, you have to know the industry niche, the specific segment, you have to be able to articulate how to cobble together the solution, and then ideally be able to point to several companies that potentially could be acquired. That does not mean they're for sale. That does not even mean that you've necessarily spoken to the owner before. You're just aware of companies in that space, and that's enough to start a conversation. Okay, so that's enough to open doors for you in private equity groups that likely would remain closed if you did not have an investment thesis. Has to be relevant for that particular fund from an industry and a size and situational standpoint, of course. If you have questions about that, feel free to reach out. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin. You're handed an investment thesis. You want to know the why behind the rationale for acquiring that particular company. So what's the context? What were the opportunities they saw? More importantly, what were the concerns, the risks, the threats, and how do they think they will mitigate those risks or threats over time? That leads into the execution of the value creation plan. You need to know that value creation plan backwards and forwards. You need to have it memorized. You need to know what's the most important priority. You need to understand what not to do, and you need to be able to communicate that to your team, and more importantly even tier 2, tier 3 management, because everybody needs to be focused like a laser on the top 2 or 3 priorities that are clear from the value creation plan. So for those people who've never worked in a private equity backed environment before, there are a lot of acronyms, there's a lot of vernacular that's thrown at you. The value creation plan can just kind of go in one ear and out the other, but stop. The investment thesis is critical to know the why. Why did the owners buy the company in the first place? That's their assumptions. The value creation plan is probably the most important thing that you can receive, so you have to focus on understanding what the priorities are. Now, the problem comes in when you sort of, as we think about an investment thesis, it's a hypothesis, it's a scientific experiment. We're basically observing, and the more time we have to observe, the more likely it is that that thesis will be proven false, right? It just logically makes sense. So it's very likely that that investment thesis was crafted and created in a very thoughtful, logical manner with a lot of diligence and a lot of knowledge and insight and experience, was well written, well crafted, and it is certainly well intended. But with every passing day, it's likely that some data will surface that contradicts the thesis or a piece of the thesis. So you can't simply go to the deal team and say, your baby's ugly. You have to go to the deal team with data, facts, and say, this is the investment thesis, and these are the facts that would support the thesis. These are the facts that are presenting themselves today. What do you think? I have some analysis, I have some judgment, and more importantly, I have a suggestion about how we should pivot from here given these facts. But first, let's discuss the facts and what your take is about the facts as they relate to the original investment thesis. I hope that makes sense. Just trying to help. I'm Kit from the Operators. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, feel free to reach out.